Here's more wrestling news for October 27th, 2022, and we're starting off with Hangman Adam Page, who suffered a serious concussion during last week's episode of AEW Dynamite. During his match with Jon Moxley, a lariat clothesline left Page motionless in the ring, forcing AEW to end the match 10 minutes earlier than planned. On this week's Dynamite, AEW's Excalibur gave an update on the former world champion, saying he's at home where he is recuperating and said to be in good condition. Given that Page suffered a concussion, there's no word on when Page will be back, but we at Slat Rock Wrestling wish him a fully and speedy recovery. When Karl Anderson returned to WWE this month, he did so as New Japan's never openweight champion, which has been a big problem for the Japanese promotion. Before returning, Anderson had been booked for New Japan's Battle Autumn event on November 5th, but has made it clear that he plans on appearing at WWE Crown Jewel that night instead. In a statement, New Japan have now demanded that Anderson show up to Battle Autumn for his title defense against Hikuleo, or he will be stripped of the openweight title and forced to return it. The statement also added that New Japan have repeatedly tried to contact Anderson about this situation, but he hasn't answered any of their calls. In a tweet responding to the ultimatum, Anderson said that he's not vacating anything, calling himself the greatest never openweight champion ever, and told New Japan to contact his booking agent, Luke Gallows. When Anderson returned as openweight champion, many believed WWE had struck a deal with New Japan, but that evidently isn't the case, and now the Machine Gun will have to make a tough decision. There's been a lot of questions about whether Anderson will appear at Battle Autumn or not, but even if he doesn't, that may not be the worst thing for New Japan. While the company is said to be furious over Anderson choosing Crown Jewel, that isn't entirely the case. As Fightful Select reports, there are still, and always have been, active plans for Karl Anderson to compete in New Japan Pro Wrestling. We haven't heard an update on the title itself, but that New Japan Pro Wrestling does expect Anderson to fulfill additional dates, which WWE was fine with. Beyond that, we're told that New Japan has been aware that Anderson and Gallows were heading to WWE as far back as August, and that's when the deal was hammered out. Those familiar with the situation say that things are fine between Anderson, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and WWE. Even if Anderson doesn't appear at Battle Autumn, it seems like his days with New Japan aren't over yet, even if he is forced to vacate the never openweight title. It appears that WWE and New Japan have struck some kind of deal, something that would have been unlikely to happen had Vince McMahon still been in charge. McMahon infamously did not enjoy playing with other wrestling companies, but with the ex-CEO gone, we could see even more promotions work with WWE. Speaking to the Metro newspaper this week, NWA President Billy Corgan spoke about a time when he tried to get his company on the WWE network, saying, "They certainly liked what I was trying to do, and they've always been cool about what I was doing in the NWA, so I remain optimistic going into the future that there might be some business there to do." Corgan added that he also thinks the NWA could work as a developmental brand for WWE, giving talent the chance to hone their skills before coming to the main roster, similar to what NXT is doing right now. The NWA president said that the door is also open for a similar arrangement with AEW, so it'll be interesting to see who, if anyone, takes the Smashing Pumpkins star up on his offer. Over to AEW now, and on a good week, Dynamite will surpass 1 million viewers, which usually leads to a celebratory tweet by Tony Khan. Last week, Dynamite fell well below this target, averaging 725,000, but that's not how Tony Khan sees things. During a commercial break on TBS's coverage of Major League Baseball, AEW had a segment, and according to the ad, is bringing in 3.5 million viewers every single week. When Dave Meltzer was asked about this frankly insane number, he explained that for this statistic, AEW is counting anyone who lands on TBS during Dynamite, even if they're just flicking through channels. Meltzer added that if WWE used the same methodologies, then their numbers would be through the roof, but instead choose to count people actually watching Raw and SmackDown instead. Tony Khan has never shied away from touting AEW's successes, and while the company has plenty of loyal fans who actually do watch each week, that's clearly not enough for Khan and his questionable figures. Since returning to WWE, Bray Wyatt has been pushed heavily on TV, despite only having a handful of appearances. During last week's SmackDown, Wyatt stated that he will do some horrible things that he'll never regret, but this promo hasn't gone down well. After the promo, fans complained that they could hardly hear what Wyatt was saying, and they're not the only ones who had this issue. Speaking on his Experience podcast, Jim Cornette said that while the promo was good, WWE's production team ruined it. I don't know why they put the spooky background music behind the promo, because he's so real that made it fake. Like the old TNA sit-down interviews when they had the dramatic music underneath and it just killed the whole thing. He's a guy talking real. Where's the music coming from? Why do we need that? We don't. Just listen to the guy. So far, Wyatt's return to WWE has received universal praise, but last week's SmackDown was a serious misstep the company would be wise to avoid. Wyatt's return to WWE only came about after Vince McMahon's retirement from the company, something fans for decades thought they would never see. After Vince retired, there were serious questions regarding how the company would fare without him, but things are going well, especially on the stock market. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics reports that yesterday saw WWE stock price rise to $79 a share, the highest it's been in 4 years. The last time WWE stock was this high was because of the TV deals they struck with the USA Network and Fox in 2018, and the WWE's value in the market is projected to be around $5.88 billion. This has been a monumental year for WWE, which has seen shocking returns and departures, but as far as the numbers are concerned, things have never been better for the sports entertainment juggernaut. One name who could soon be returning to WWE is CM Punk, as his time with AEW is seemingly coming to an end. With the Elite being promoted during this week's Dynamite, it appears that the investigation into the all-out backstage fight is ending, and we've learned more about what happened after the fight took place. CM Punk has not spoken publicly about the fight since it had happened, and according to Wrestling Inc., the former world champion was asked to stay quiet on the matter and agreed to do so. The report adds that at the time, Punk and those on his side did not think the media scrum was that big a deal, but it clearly became one. From the perspective of Punk's camp, the scrum itself, which became the talk of the wrestling world due to Punk's comments on Colt Cabana, Hangman Adam Page, and the Elite, didn't seem like a big deal and only escalated once Punk's locker room door was kicked in and accidentally hit Punk's dog Larry in the face. At a pre-scheduled veterinarian appointment a few days later, Punk was informed that 2 of Larry's teeth had been knocked loose and had to be removed. While Punk has returned to social media, he still hasn't addressed the fight or the very real possibility he could lose his job. AEW has reportedly not spoken to Punk since the all-out brawl, and while he's kept quiet as requested so far, we imagine the former AEW World Champion will have plenty to say if he is fired, as many predict. And we're ending today with Tommaso Ciampa, who didn't appear on Raw, which Johnny Gargano explained is due to injury. At the time, there are questions as to whether this injury was legitimate or part of a storyline, but we can now confirm that the former NXT champion is genuinely hurting. On Instagram, Ciampa shared an update on his condition, saying he's on the road to recovery and has undergone surgery. Ciampa is unfortunately no stranger to injuries, as his first reign as NXT champion ended in March 2019 because of a serious neck injury that required surgery. In his post, Ciampa explained that his hip labrum looked like shredded cheese, according to his wife, but gave no indication as to when he'll be back in the ring. After being called up to the main roster earlier this year, Ciampa has been teaming with The Miz and has been prominently featured on Raw, but we won't be seeing anything from the Blackheart for the time being. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.